weekend continues. Good Saturday morning from the BitNile.com Grand Prix. Welcome to Portland International Raceway, where we are green for practice 2 of round 14 of 17 of the NTT IndyCar Series Championship, and it is beautiful. Feels like a fall morning in August. We've had cloud cover in the morning. Now you see more blue and temperatures in the upper 50s, and the sun has been trying to peek through. We had some rain yesterday throughout the day. The forecast looks awesome for tomorrow. And there's Will Power going around and barely keeping the rear wing off the barrier.
Kevin, that is over in the final corner on the entrance to turn 12, and that is the pit lane entrance for the support paddock. We saw Scott Dixon
Can you restart here?
Saw Dixon use that yesterday, and Will Power must have had a massive moment to end up where he is right now.
Oh, so lucky.
This looks a lot like how I pull into most valets at the hotels we go to.
Honestly, that is exactly where Dixon made that super heads-up call when he had a similar moment to immediately commit to turning left and actually staying on that runoff road as we see Grosjean pulling a Kirkwood.
The difference is that overnight the grass is a lot more damp than what Dixon ran through yesterday. So I think Will had to make a decision.
But Dixon never hit the grass. That's what I'm saying.
Well, he went through the dirt a little bit, but I think Will had to make a decision to lock it down just because he started to slide, really kind of out of control. As you see wide eyes, and I think he realizes how just narrowly close that was to a potentially much bigger disaster. Let's take a look at it again.
I mean, that's fifth gear through that 10-11 section. Just understeers off. You use a lot of that exit road. That's normal, but then just too much. It's at that point where he goes to lock up. Dixon got off the brakes and hung a left. And then, just the momentum there on the back of the car brings it around. It's unfortunate that he couldn't get it fired up with the hybrid system. We saw Santino Ferrucci able to do that yesterday.
He might be boxed in, though, even if he could get it fired, because I think he was saying, I'm stuck here. Does he have enough? Oh, maybe he was saying stuck between gears is what we're hearing.
Yeah, I did notice that he couldn't get it into neutral. You see the one there on the dash, still stuck there in first gear.
So we saw Grosjean have a little miscue down there in turn number 1. This was another radio transmission about some issues they potentially are having with this car.
Okay, the hybrid is not working. It's not deploying as it should again. So I don't know what's going on since yesterday, but it's not working. Got to the braking zone with 100%, and I deployed everything I had.
So some early issues for the 77. They'll try and get that sorted out and hopefully get Grosjean's hybrid system back in working order.
Let's see the 6-time champ now, who is still in contention. It's going to take some work to get number 7 done to pass his teammate Alex Palou, but here is Scott Dixon. Let's watch.
Such an interesting layout here at Portland. A nice mix of slow corners, big commitment on the brakes, and the curb riding like in turn 1-2 there. But then some of those faster sections like turn 4, like turn 10, 11.
What was that?
It was
What
2 laps in a
world?
row. He got a car.
Was that Newgarden?
That was Newgarden.
What is What is he? I'm thinking the same thing. Why is Joseph Newgarden in the middle of the racetrack at a snail's pace and not further out wide? That was super sketch.
And the lap before, Rinus VeeKay did almost the exact same thing to Dixon.
VeeKay was a little more out of the way, but Newgarden was in one of those confusing, like, is this guy about to cut in front of me? What's going on? Middle of the racetrack. I understand Dixon's, that's an angry Dixon. That's about as fired up as he gets on the radio.
I mean, Toby Sowery here for Dale Coyne. Into one, not quite making it. I'm just going to call it the Kirkwood, just because he kicked it off.
I think Kirkwood, he had more throttle for the send over the curbs potentially, or at least more momentum. Toby was able to get a lot of the speed bled off before he rode over those. Kirkwood definitely leads on the double kicker.
Yeah, he was going for the whoops approach.
Because of the 4.
Yeah, Stingray Rob's going to find the fence.
Oh, is into the wall.
Yep, I lost it.
So second red flag of this session, and this one does involve wall contact. By the way, we had not seen Kyle Kirkwood until the last moment. Now he is.
Yeah, I'm all good. It wasn't very big. Don't know what happened there. We bottomed more on the way through, but then just looped.
Again, that high-speed chicane, 10-11. Yeah, it went around a lot earlier than what we've seen in the other ones. But you hear him say about the bottoming. The end of the back straight there as you head into turn 10. That is sort of the fastest part of the racetrack. That's where you can, even from the onboards, you can hear the floor just skipping across the racetrack. And if you're just a little bit too low or your tire pressures aren't quite high enough, when you fully commit, it's so easy to just bottom a little bit and upset the balance of the car.
It's really the same moment that Will Power and Scott Dixon have experienced so far. The difference there is Stingray kind of stayed with the trailing brake pedal, thinking he's running out of road, where the more experienced guys that have been here dump the brake, eyes up, hands straight, and just try to ride it out.
A lot of tape and done a lot of studying and talking with the others.
Oh,
here's two Penske's together. That's been a theme here in the last little while. Let's see if there's anything to this.
Well, you're going to see Scott McLaughlin here check up in a big way to find a gap. That is
it's close.
I really understand that the yellow's out. That's go back and see that. I think I saw the red lights flashing for Stingray Rob going off, and I think McLaughlin was just cruising in. Let's see if they were already. Yeah, they're already on. So it's a red flag. I'm not sure what Will was hoping to accomplish there. Unless he was just trying to get a read on the in-lap and didn't think McLaughlin would be going so slow. Quicker than we thought. A lot of questions about whether Newgarden could do it, and there's contact for his teammate, Felix Rosenqvist. I'll finish that point later. Right front.
Do you think he clipped? Did he clip the apex in turn 1 there? Just get too close to the wall. Yeah.
Oh boy, that was
that's a Monaco
way wrong.
It's a Monaco Grand Prix
swimming pool
PC
complex.
section. Oh wow! Because that tire was down, the ride height was so much lower when he hit that curb. It really launched that thing airborne.
And there's going to be probably some pretty good suspension or steering arm damage.
That feels so brutal from inside the cockpit of an Indy car because you're sitting so low. Just a few centimeters of foam underneath your backside. But yeah, this is easy to do. You just kind of misjudge it a little bit more front grip than you were expecting.
Luckily, I was watching Rosenqvist's left hand up and thinking, wow, that must have been a big hit through the steering system, but it didn't look like a massive shock. Let's see on board. See what I mean? There was almost no kickback.
I'm not sure there's even suspension damage. The rim's broken, the tire's off, but
yeah, the stub axle coming off the upright's fully mushroomed, so
that's true.
That needs to be replaced.
I've been marveling at the durability of the Dallara as they launch over these curbs. If this survives this, that's saying another level.
I just think he should be really thanking the fact that his hand, there just didn't seem to be a lot of steering kickback the way it It just didn't twist the tire. It just sort of center punched it.
I think it's because he just maybe caught it not with the leading edge of the tire, just really didn't catch the side, so it didn't pull it out of his hands. Also, hitting Armco compared to hitting, you can see how the one half of the wheel is actually fine, that wheel face.
They might not be able to get the wheel nut off.
I think we're seeing some fresh Firestones go on because the top of the leaderboard is changing a lot. Rossi, who was quickest yesterday in the first 45 minutes, went to P1 for a moment. Scott McLaughlin just topped him. So we have ticked below the 59 mark. That is very close to what we saw yesterday in the primaries.
Rossi quick on the primaries, quick on the alternates as well. He was P4 in the combined times. Pato Award was down in 9th, so it looks like a little bit of collaboration between the two McLaren drivers overnight has brought them both into the conversation. You got Grosjean on your screen here. He was complaining yesterday of some balance issues, this morning of some hybrid issues, but it seems like they've got everything under control over there as we see Rinus VeeKay now again re-enter the conversation. This has been a consistent performance from him and the ECR squad. And another team that does well here, Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, as Graham jumps up into the top 3.
Georgia, tell us more about Colton Herta.
Well, Colton Herta sits second in championship points, just 59 points behind Alex Palou. But right now, he's all the way down in 24th. So let's hear what he has to say about the 26 Gamebridge Honda.
Just over here. Done running on these tires. They're done. Copy.
So Colton Herta obviously not happy with the rear of the 26. So they have just over 13 minutes to figure that out before qualifying.
Hey, Georgia, did they put new tires on? Because I'm showing just 2 laps now on these blacks, so they haven't pitted after that feedback.
Well, I did talk to Rob Edwards a little bit more. I'm not sure if they changed tires on that last pit stop, but he said they were happy on the black tires yesterday. They were not so happy on the alternates. So today really was about getting that 26 better on the alternates. I'm not sure if they've gone to those yet. I don't think that they have, but a lot of work to be done for the 26.
Yeah, alternates will come on in qualifying, but it looks on our data like this is a fresher set of blacks, so maybe they've pitted and made the change. He'll have a nice tow off Nolan Siegel down the back straightaway. Does Siegel give it up, though?
Does Siegel even know he's there?
Oh!
Hello. Not a thrilled moment there from Colton Herta.
Oh, he's going to stack him up in the final corner.
I mean, both drivers' laps are already toast. Again, the alt-start finish line was back right where they crossed.
I mean, it was quicker for Colton, but just a 59.4 there on the last lap when his tires are fresh and ready to go. Kirkwood does hold that best-worst finish.
But now
position,
it's 22nd.
but it's 22nd.
How about
but
that?
It's still best.
How about that? We talked about that so much last year. Alex Palou's worst finish being 8th. As we watch a little bit of Scandi flicking happening here from Grosjean in turn 1 and 2. And then it was Kirkwood for such a large part of the season. Finally had his first DNF, and it was still the best. See, this is important. That's what the drivers are expected to do when they miss that curve in turn 1.
I can only laugh, though, when you contrast what we've seen from Kirkwood or Rosenqvist in terms of moments in turn 1 versus a Scott Dixon turn 1 moment or a Scott Dixon turn 12 moment this weekend. It's like so mild on the race car.
Yeah, those quick decisions in those moments.
And the expertise and the knowledge of just knowing how to protect.
Speaking of which, Rinus VeeKay's just pulled a Dixon. That's that same runoff to the drag strip that we've seen Dixon use so well yesterday. Careful on the merge here, pal.
Yeah.
And now we've got Yuri Vips going backwards on the racetrack.
Okay, how did he end up there? How did he end up there going backwards?
Maybe exited 2. Lost it, spun drivers left to the inside.
That's all I can think, but that's a big off.
And really wanted to follow the prescribed path to get back on the track.
I don't remember seeing counter course on any of the diagrams.
Well,
let's see here.
Let's have a look.
Oh, you're right. Right rear must have fallen off on the grass. And
that might even been an outlap for him. That left front looks like it's still got the chalk line around it.
Cold tires, which would also explain how you slid so far.
Yeah, it is. It's an outlap for him. He's just now starting his first flyer. So, yeah, it's just straight out of the pits.
And amazing that Lee can see that and hear that from where he's watching as Joseph Newgarden has another big moment over in the S's, gets off twice.
Yeah, off in 5, puts him completely out of sequence for 6. It's a little bit of lawn mowing here. Let's ride on board.
And then here is a look at Pietro Fittipaldi in one of the 4 Rahal Letterman Lanigan cars, the Mora and local Lisa car.
So you talked about 210s, James, covering 14 cars as Pietro gets massive lockup there. But this is what tends to happen is, as a driver, you start to think, okay, where am I differentiating myself? I've got to try harder. I've got to experiment. Felix Rosenqvist trying to, pull off a miracle down there with the turn 1 apex that might have yielded, 400s if it had worked out. But you're trying to pick up these crumbs everywhere, and that's going to be the difference between pole and 18th.
This is Will Power not long ago. And watch Rinus VeeKay coming out of the pit lane. Did he get in Power's way?
Oh, dude. Power might be upset with that, but candidly, there's nowhere for Rinus VeeKay to hide with all the cars coming down the front straightaway, sequenced by a second or two.
Eighth quick in the session today. Last year's pole sitter. Results from practice 2 from Portland.
It's effectively the same lap time for the top 10, right? Within reason, Rinus VeeKay there in 10th. I mean, just like Graham said, so tight. Hundreds, potentially thousands of a second will be the difference as we get to qualifying this afternoon.
And this is where it gets so tough. You can look Grosjean all the way down there. That's 2 tenths from 15th to 1st. You think how many changes are you going to make to the car? It's not like you're throwing the kitchen sink at it setup-wise. It is such small margins we're working with.
Great point. I mean, a guy like Scott Dixon could say the car's fine. I just need to piece it all together. It won't take much as we go down through the list. Toby Sowery right at a minute flat, just outside the 59.